Teeth to Queens Claim Your Career Crown podcast. I'm your host, Lynn, and today I'm joined by our wonderful guest, Laura Bellet. And we're going to be talking about the empowering J3 equals E formula. Redefine your perspective on challenges. Because, we all encounter challenges every day, big, small, in work and in our personal lives. Reframing your challenges provides a shortcut to moving over, through, and past them. Now, if you get a ton of value out of this episode, I'd love to invite you to subscribe because it costs nothing to subscribe. Now, about Laura,
Mhm.
as a global top selling author of The Science of Empowerment, thought, energy, mindset, development coach, and speaker, Laura's skill set, gathered wisdom, and personal discipline to advance human potential is evident in her creative work. Her energy and the feeling that all things are possible begins the co creative relationships that she is sought after and known for. For those who are willing to expand their present mindset, dissolve negative patterns and behaviors, and elevate into their unique potential, they are in for a 360-degree view on how to activate personal power. And Laura, I am just absolutely thrilled to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining me.
It's a pleasure. I was just enjoying our conversation out of studio. It was wonderful, like two old friends catching up. So I love it. It's a pleasure. Thanks.
Well, I am thrilled to have you here. And, with all the things that you've accomplished and you've done and your approach, I think that our audience would really appreciate learning what inspired you to get started down this path.
I love this question. And of course, there's some beautiful complexities weaved into it as always. First, remembrance was with my mom at 14 years old. And I told her one day I will write a book and it will change the world, right? Because we all have that feeling that we are born and meant for something great. And my mom, in her beautiful wisdom, said, "Beautiful. Why are you waiting?" But I did. And then my brother started coming up and saying, "You know what, sister? You've got this unique little brilliance in you. Why are you wasting your time over there and over there? Put it down on paper." And part of that was always stemming from everywhere we went, lots of energy, lots of stuff to say, excited about creating a life that is happy and balanced and centered. And so I just put it down into a book. And I really wanted to empower other people because I've always felt, not without challenges, but I've always felt that we could tap into something far beyond what we're settling for. And so I just began to create the science of empowerment. And that was based from the formula that we'll talk about, which is my brother's brilliance. So it's this very beautiful synergy between my brother and I, and bringing our own unique potential into an actual formula and a program that helps other people move into that zone of potential and really create an empowered life.
Well, I am really excited to hear about this, about the J3 equals E formula, and, really explain what it is and why is it important.
Yeah, I love this. So we all know that there's skills, techniques, modalities, there's programs, there's courses that we can read, but having something applicable to everyday situations for me was really important. Side note, my brother is a former USA gymnastics coach, and he has worked with Olympians and very high level athletes. And yes, I could name them, but I can't. And when they come into our neuromuscular training facility, I would watch my brother work the mindset development while he was working on the physicality, right? And so we all know champions are just geared differently. They will put 10,000 reps in to get one perfect skill. I wanted to know if we took this formula and we moved it into the everyday lifestyle. Like me, I'm a regular kid, a wife, a mother, a friend, a sister, a coach, a businesswoman. What would happen if us regular kids applied the formula, what would happen then? And I started applying it everywhere, talking about it, starting to work it through with my clients that I was physically training, and realized that this thought energy mindset development process was shifting and transforming their lives outside of the gym. And
Mhm.
so I took this just absolute empowering IN formula and worked it through the book, which became the science behind creating an empowered life. And the formula is really just, so the J stands for Jekyll, JEKL. And that is the acronym of what my brothers created. And that's four people that represent something very important to him. And I'm one of them. I'm the L in that. So Jekyll. And then there's halos above and below. You can see it in the back of me. And that represents our parents. So there's this unification of family, and not always perfect, but we stay together and we work through things together. So when you apply these five Jekyll principles, tenets, laws, and you move into the power seat of choice, which is the three,
Yeah.
energy, now we begin to create an empowered life. So Jekyll principles, three fields of energy equal E, i.e., empowered. So I run it through everything I do every day. My clients do, my readership does. Some people hone in on one or two, three, four, or all five of those principles. And then when you start to understand that you can position yourself out of negativity into neutral, now we can start to create a more positive way of being and becoming in the world.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely brilliant. And I love the piece about choice because it's also the power to choose
Mm,
a new way, to lean into the
yeah.
J3 equals E formula. And so that is really fabulous. So I'm curious, now you sort of referred to this, but let's sort of dive deeper and how do you do this? I mean, like what does that process look like?
Yeah. So when you look at the principles, and of course, in the book or in coaching or when you speak on them, we go much more into detail. But give the audience the gems now. So this is awareness, willingness, accountability, critical thinking, and energy. And when you go into a present challenge or a negative pattern, or you find that you're repeating this behavior, and it's an aspect of our personality that we're just like, what's going on? I am just not moving up to that higher self, right?
Right.
That I can become. Now we go into, what am I aware of? Boom. What's that first answer, that gut answer? What am I willing to do about it? I love the third principle. We all know about accountability. Stop blaming outside circumstances and conditions. Yes, people can be held accountable, but when we're talking about working this empowerment for ourselves, I'm aware that I'm repeating this argument with my husband. What am I willing to do? Read, research, listen to podcasts, change my mindset, change my behavior, recalibrate my accountability into the repeatable. Critical thinking is the best, right? This is
Yeah.
clear, rational minded thinking. Suspend the emotionality just for a moment, put it over there, put that reaction over there, and really start to think with a clear mind, a higher level of intellect. And even if you don't know what that is, play with it, have fun, just imagine yourself being the super powered human, and I have the ability to think differently than I feel so that I can move through that negative emotion. Now I'm starting to bring myself into the fifth principle, which is energy. None of us want to be in the energetic state of negativity. We don't like it on any level. Frustration, anxiety, stress, all of it. Now we get to begin to what I call the superpower of neutrality. We get to start exercising that. That's a tool, a skill, a technique that we can just readily call upon, right? Because we're aware we don't want to be negative. We're willing to take the steps to get out of negativity. We're accountable to not being negative anymore. Critical thinking, yeah, I'm going to think greater than I feel at the moment, I've already neutralized that particular challenge. Now I get to start creating a more empowered environment. So, really, when you just move through those principles, and for my clients, when they're on that wheel and they keep moving back into that position of negativity, what are you aware of? Still negative. What are you willing to do about? And we just keep going through, and this formula just starts to dissolve the stagnation and almost the cementing of the pattern, and they start to realize I can think differently. I can begin to feel differently. I am an empowered human being. Maybe I need help, support, guidance, but I've got this.
Yeah. No, I love this. I mean, as you were talking, I actually, really connected it with a number of things in sales. Like, first
Mm,
off is like really no is a no for now. It's rarely a no for never, right? And that sometimes you just have to, stack your nose to get to yes. And there are many things that you have to divorce. It's not about you, and it isn't about blame. It's about, that process. And so there are a number of things that I just went, oh wow.
it's applicable to everything. I was telling to you before we went on to record, I sell to myself all the time.
Yeah.
We all do. We're either selling the negative, right? Outdated, antiquated algorithm or pattern, however our minds are looking at it. We're selling ourselves to sameness, right? Or to expansion of
Yeah.
something new.
Right. Yeah. Now, I'd love to hear why redefining your perspective on challenges,
Mm.
is really at this. I think it's more urgent than ever right now. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Again, reframe, redesign, re-engineer. We all have a unique vernacular, right? We all have these words that mean something to us. Now we get to really take a present day challenge. And I love this. I'm actually a bit of an outlier here. I love challenges. They allow me to grow.
Yeah.
They allow me to expand. They emphasize my own curiosity, which calls for courage, sometimes self compassion, but it really allows me to look at what is the challenge? And here I go. What's my awareness around this challenge? Right? What is it doing? Is it a mirror or a trigger? Well, now what am I willing to do about it? Accountability, I'm the only one, right?
Yeah.
So now I call a mentor, I go to my coaches, I listen to a podcast, I read a book, I start educating myself on information that is applicable so I can turn it into knowledge. Now I'm gaining wisdom and insight. Now this challenge doesn't have that same hold on me that it did a moment or an hour or a day or a week or a month ago because I'm actually applying critical thinking. I'm not all emotionally wrapped up into the challenge. I'm looking at the challenge as a vehicle to transport me from this place to another, i.e., transformation. Here I am. I'm neutral once again. And now I'm creating a negative or perceived negative, right? Challenge as a beautiful opportunity for positive personal and professional empowerment.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's just so true. And I think there's so many through lines with your alignment of moving that and getting to that other place.
Mm,
And it is that opportunity for yourself to, to every day we make so
mm.
many decisions, but we do have the opportunity to choose that path. And when we find ourselves falling into that negative, and if that is a pattern, to truly, do that work so that we then apply the knowledge. We actually have to apply the knowledge to really gain that transformation. We have to take action.
Yeah, I was just reading the Diamond Cutter again and thinking about the analogy of the diamond and where it sits.
Yeah.
And it's usually in dark places, it's embedded in heaviness. And then to explore the journey and find it and come upon this discovery. But it's not perfect the way it is. You've got to move around that gem. You've got to chip away, release, again, redesign, recalibrate the process of bringing its brilliance out into the world. That's all of us. That's all of our experiences. Again, are we reacting to them or are we transforming through them? And it's just a choice. It really is. And you have the power to choose. And
Yeah.
if you don't think you do, then let's bring the awareness around that. And here
Yeah.
we go again. And we just keep moving through this beautiful formula and this process. I mean, the science of empowerment is just loaded with information to help the process of this formula. But whatever we have in our life that brings us a bit of centeredness and balance and resolve, focus in on that and allow that to become the vehicle of some style of transformation. Your whole life will begin to change.
Yeah. No, it's true. And we do always have the power to choose, even in the darkest of times, in the
Yeah.
diamond mine, but it's there. And it may be difficult and really hard, but we do have the opportunity to choose a new path. So I'm curious with that comment. I mean, what is it that you found that holds people back from
Mm.
making this, making the, to recognizing they have a choice and to make the choice?
Yeah. It's simple, but yet we know again there's complexities and levels to it. Some of us go through such hardships right from the get-go. And so therapies and very specific caring and compassionate counseling through, right, a lot of that. But then there comes this moment where you realize that really this present holding pattern is just something we think is real. We've put so much weight onto it that it's it has meaning, it has purpose, it's fulfilling something that we forget that at any moment we can release it. And I really think what holds us back is it's energy. It's misconceived energy. It's a distortion of the truth. Because let's say whoever's listening, you have that present challenge. This is holding me back. And there are real true factors. Yes, financially sometimes, marriage, children, we've been there. We can touch upon all of that even in business. I've exhausted all of my money. I've given it all I have. However, that comma, and I think when we can look at present challenges again that are holding us back, I've got one or two things. Is it triggering you to
Yeah.
stay into the pattern or is it reflecting, find another way? Every human being, even in some of the worst conditions that we can imagine,
Yeah.
find their way out. And that's what it is. What's holding you back is a belief or a system, an algorithm, a thought process that you have convinced yourself
Yeah.
that this is it. You and you alone have convinced yourself. Even those outside influences that seem or appear very real, those are the reasons that we attach to why we still are being held back. It's a thought process. And I'm not saying you can think something and therefore it all unfolds beautifully, but the same energy that we put into being held back is the exact same energy that can propel us out of that holding pattern into an empowerment shift.
Wow. That's amazing. And so, for the listeners who are tuning in today, what can they do next about utilizing the J3 equals E formula?
Yeah. Well, read the book because the book has nothing about me in it whatsoever. It is a student becoming a master as you move through the language. It's really written from the quantum field of creating new neuronal pathways in the brain. So even if you read it and you're just like, what is that? Oh, just hang in there. And also take with you one of those principles, right? Awareness, willingness, accountability, critical thinking, energy. What resonates with you right off, like the cough, and focus on that and look into what is critical thinking, what is energy, what is accountability. What do you mean willingness? What does it really mean to be a willing participant in my unfolding of my own empowered life? Or awareness? Just hone in on awareness all the time. So if you say, for the next 24 hours, I'm going to become super aware of everything and how is it affecting me? What's the causation it's stirring in with me? You'll begin to start transforming right then and there. So
Yeah.
use one of the principles, if not many or all, and just be aware that you're an energy being. And this is not to say in some spiritual context, which is beautiful. It's to say, yes, you are energy in motion or your energy in inactive mode.
Yeah.
What do you want to be? What do you want to ignite? And for me, energy. Just start to tune and tap into it and really understand that energy is in everything. And what you place into that energy field is what you will get on the outside of it,
Yeah.
i.e., our experiences.
Yeah. Ah, it's wonderful. So, Laura, is there anything you wish I'd asked you today?
No, I love it. I love what you do in the sales because I listen to your podcast and your work and I apply the formula into sales. And I have many clients and entrepreneurial clients like you do that really have learned how to apply the formula and the science of empowerment into the professional environments. And so I think, being able to just share that moment or two where you've realized I can apply this in my
Yeah.
own business, in my own way of thinking with my own clients. I think that's really important. So I love it. I thought it was
Yeah.
great.
Well, Laura, thank you so much for sharing the empowering J3 equals E formula, redefined your perspective on challenges. I know that our listeners are going to want to know more about you and where they can find you and connect with you.
So, like many of us, LinkedIn is where I think you and I met, which is wonderful. It's such a beautiful community empowering us daily. And go to the scienceofempowerment.com. There is a copious amount. I'm talking a wealth of knowledge on there. Even if you just kick back, there's blogs, there's videos, there's media page. Just have fun, peruse through all that glorious, delicious knowledge and be aware of what feels right for you and move on that feeling. Take action on something that really sparks or ignites an inspired action from you. And so just go to the website. There's lots of stuff. And of course, purchase the book. I just share with you. I haven't even put it out into the world yet. I just became a number one international best-selling author, as well as Amazon three-time bestseller. So it's well worth your read. It will remind you of your own brilliance and your own genius and how to tap into it.
Oh, that's amazing. And I dropped the your website and the book into the chat. And of course, we'll have all those links down below so everyone can connect on those, connect with you. And this has been such an informative discussion. And I want to thank everyone who tuned in. We appreciate you so much being a part of our audience and our journey of celebrating amazing people like Laura. And Laura, thank you again for being on the show. This has been really a wonderful journey of empowerment.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure.
All right. There we go. Woohoo.
Yep. So I'm going to keep it open.
Well, we're already done.
Oh, it's already done.